Breaking news, the Supreme Court is going to hear the ghost gun ban rule. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And you like channel, like content, what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything's appreciated. And to my Connecticut residents, plan on getting your Connecticut pistol permit? Please get that training, and I will go further and say turn in your paperwork before July 1st, 2024. After that, the training is going to change. If you already have your permit, watch the expiration date. Don't let it expire. There's a link for the online renewal portal for the state of Connecticut for pistol permits in the description box. Keep an eye on that. Let's talk about this, and this is huge news again. Much like the bump stock ban, which is being heard in the Supreme Court right now, the Supreme Court is going to take up the challenges to the ghost gun ban rule that the ATF implemented. Now, this has been a kind of a long process, but if you remember, the ATF changed the definitions of firearms to include frame and receivers. It was immediately challenged, and a judge in Texas said, no, this is unconstitutional. Then the Fifth Circuit Court got a hold of it. They said, no, we're going to stick with the lower court ruling and say this is unconstitutional. We're putting a hold on it. The Supreme Court said, we're going to dismiss that hold and put it into effect. Now the Supreme Court is going to hear arguments on the rule by the ATF. The biggest thing about this is not so much that it's a ghost gun ban of any kind or that the fact that these parts are under scrutiny. It's the fact that the ATF is overstepping its boundaries in the scope of its powers. But I'm going to come into here. Supreme Court will take up legal fight over ghost guns, firearms without serial numbers. The Supreme Court agreed on Monday to take up a Biden administration appeal over the regulation of difficult to trace ghost guns that had been struck down by lower courts. The justices, by a 5-4 vote, had previously intervened to keep the regulation in effect during the legal fight. Ghost guns, which lack serial numbers, it's such a gaslighting term. Ghost guns, such bullshit. It's a firearm. That's the end of it. But which like serial numbers, have been turned up at crime scenes with increasing regularity. Yeah, we can talk about the state of crime in this country and the fact that we have DAs that won't prosecute people for crimes that they commit or prosecute them to let the punishment fit the crime. We can talk about that all day. But the regulation, which took effect in 2022, changed the definition of a firearm under federal law to include unfinished parts like the frame of a handgun or the receiver of a long gun, so they can be tracked more easily. Those parts must be licensed and include serial numbers. Manufacturers must also run background checks before a sale, as they do with commercially made firearms. The requirement applies regardless of how the firearm was made, meaning it includes ghost guns made from individual parts or kits or 3x3D printers. The rule does not prohibit people from buying a kit or any type of firearm. Now, the Justice Department had told the court that local law enforcement agencies seized more than 19,000 ghost guns at scenes in 2021, more than tenfold increase in just 5 years. U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor in Fort Worth, Texas, struck down the rule last year, concluding it exceeded the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Authority. O'Connor wrote that the definition of a firearm in federal law does not cover all the parts of a gun, which is true. Congress could change the law, he wrote, so he kind of passed it back down to Congress. Fine. A panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, made up of 3 appointees of then President Donald Trump, largely upheld O'Connor's ruling. The Supreme Court allowed the regulation to remain in effect while the lawsuit continues. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined with the court's 3 liberal members to form the majority. Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas would have kept the regulation on hold during the appeals process. Barrett, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh reported by Trump, we know that. But arguments won't take place before the fall, but they are going to hear it. Now let's come out of that. Now there's a little speculation on the part of Barrett, who did join in with the liberals to say, no, let's keep the regulation in effect. Now there's a little bit of a play going on here. Some people are saying she did that because if the court had said, no, we're going to allow this hold to stay in place until it's heard, it could then start a whole nother legal battle, which would take even longer to get it back to the Supreme Court. That's what speculation, but now they're going to hear it. And this, once again, this is going to be precedent setting, just like the bump stock ban that's being heard by the court now. It's setting a tone for every lawsuit coming up the pipe concerning Second Amendment rights. This one obviously is going to be definitely have more weight than the bump stock ban, but it is all going to be tied together to show where the mindset of the Supreme Court actually is right now. Of course, I personally am waiting for one of these assault weapon bans to make it to the Supreme Court. Unfortunately for us in Connecticut and a couple other states, even if the justices in the Supreme Court rule, yes, the ATF overstepped its boundaries, they can't do this, so this rule is null and void, we still are not affected by it because we have a law that says we cannot have these things. So that law can now be challenged in court using the precedent set by this ruling. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Now, this is not the only time that a ghost gun ban has been challenged. There's another challenge going on right now, but this one has made it to the Supreme Court first. But this is the federal level. The one that's coming up behind it is at the state level. I'm trying to remember the name of the state, but I'm pretty sure I have the image up behind me. So this, once again, we need these cases to get to the Supreme Court. We need the Supreme Court to make a final ruling on these things so we can stop these individual states from passing laws that infringe on the rights of the individual while they gaslight you by telling you, oh, this is about your safety and community safety, when in reality, it has nothing to do with it. Remember, I did a story on a guy in Rockford, Illinois, killed 4 people, and I believe he injured 7. 1 man, 1 knife, 4 people dead, and I believe another 7 injured. Tell them, and then they tell you this is about your safety. No, it's not. This is about gun control. This is about controlling the masses. Nothing more. So, once again, good news. Supreme Court is going to hear the ghost gun ban rule set by the ATF. And hopefully this will be the waterfall, the cascade, or the snowball going down the hill that we need for everything else coming up the pipe. I, once again, personally looking for the assault weapons ban to make it to Supreme Court to once and for all put a stamp on it. I'd love for Grant versus Lamont, or there's another person who has a lawsuit in Connecticut going too. But either one, I don't care. I just want one of them to hit the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court to make a final ruling on it and end it all. I am just totally ecstatic to have one of these assault weapons ban cases get there, the magazine bans, and end it all right then and there. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can notify the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.